Good afternoon, everybody. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another edition of Top 10 Songs. Look who's back.
Hello!
Butch Jones is back in the house. What's happening, my friend?
Good to see you,
sir. It's been a few months.
It has been a while.
You have your presence has been requested by many of our loyal viewers. So
thank you.
Butch, fellow SOT scribe, is back yet again. We picked out. Butch and I have actually been plotting a couple of shows for a long time now. So there's 3 bands that we're going to be doing today. The first we're going to be doing. We are going to be doing today top 10 songs from Van Halen. So, before some of you are probably going to ask, well, wouldn't it make sense to do a top 10 of like the David Lee Roth era and top 10 of the Sammy? We decided we're just going to do them all in one because
I couldn't give you a top 10 of the Sammy. I might be able to give you a top 5.
I have well, you know what? I'm not even going to. Go there.
That's another day.
Yeah, I'm not even going to go there because we're going to do a bunch of honorable mentions as well. So at least for me, you're going to see all sorts of stuff there. But you know how these usually work. My guest on the show, my guest co-host, will start off with his number 10. I'll do my number 10. We'll go back and forth, back and forth. Perfect. So, Butch, what is your number 10 for Van Halen?
Well,
top 10 songs.
I spent a lot of time. Well, really not that much time, but I spent time plotting out the order. Mm-hmm. And driving here, I changed number 10. So number 10 now is going to be Hear About It Later.
Ooh.
From Fair Warning.
Ooh, good one. Good choice.
I remember seeing a video on MTV, that live video from Oakland, with seeing Edward there. Just just awesome memories. Great record, great song.
It is a really good.
And I love that intro. So Hear About It Later is number 10.
One of the things that I discovered again, I mean, it's not like I didn't know this, but like when you're going back and you're like revisiting some of these tunes especially from these guys, is that Eddie was really good at, or Eddie Edward, whatever you want to say. I know you go back and forth on that, but he was great at intros. I mean, how many of those early Van Halen songs had these really cool intros that in some cases had nothing to do with what happened during the rest of the song, right? Which is really neat.
Absolutely.
So, all right, so my number 10 from Women and Children First. Fools. Cool tune, right?
That's a great tune. That is a great tune.
Heavy. Got insane grooves on that tune.
Oh.
Eddie pumped out a lot of really cool riffs back in those early days. And
absolutely.
Unlike what anybody else was doing at the time. It wasn't like Iommi, it wasn't like Blackmore, none of those guys. It was just like kind of fresh and heavy, and he had that great tone, and of course, all the solo acrobatics.
Absolutely.
But I think so, a lot of times he doesn't get enough credit for the cool riffs that he came up
with. He doesn't get credit for the rhythm playing.
Yeah.
And that record is what I've always called the party album.
Oh, yeah, totally. Yeah.
That's a great one. I don't remember what I was changing stuff around, but now I got to lock it down here. So my number 9, talking about intros, is Mean Street. As a guitar player, you don't have to be a guitar player, but just hearing that intro was just like, whoa. But as a guitar player, it was doubly whoa. It's like, what the fuck is he doing on this?
Yeah.
And just the riff comes in, it's like, oh, god damn.
Yeah.
And so, Mean Street's number 9.
That whole album is just really, really great. I've often had a hard time kind of picking what my favorite Van Halen album is from that period because they're all really, really strong. And I don't know, Fair Warning is just like, right top to bottom, it's pretty damn good.
It's a dark record, man.
It's great.
It's
a little more serious, I think, than some of the other ones.
Much more, especially coming after Women and Children First, which is such a party, carefree kind of record to go to that darkness like that for sure.
Exactly. So, my number 9, let's go to the second album, Out of Love. Again. Dun, 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 dun.
Oh, people. Van Halen 2. Oh, boy. It's
good stuff on there. My issue with Van Halen 2 is like there are a couple tunes. The album is short for one. There's, for me, probably some of my favorite tunes are from that album, but there's a couple of tunes that I kind of skip a little bit here and there. But I think the tunes that are good are great.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I think I kind of have that issue with the first 2 albums. I think there's some because they were doing a lot of covers back then. I mean, they did that a lot throughout the early part of their career. But man, the great stuff is like off the charts great.
Oh.
If you took like those first 3 albums and got rid of them, but again, some of the covers are great.
Right.
Got rid of the covers and some of the kind of silly throwaway stuff and make one album, you probably have the best album in history.
Of all time.
Right?
Of all time. And people, you will learn as we go through this what Van Halen 2 means to me. So stay tuned.
Guess what's coming, right? All right, cool. All right, what do you got for number 8?
Well, this is where our first mutual one is. Number 8 for me is Fools.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, like you said, man, that just the vibe of it, the party album thing, that the riff of just Dave and Eddie, just Edward. So let me even go back to that. My Edward thing. I caught Edward from the period that I like the best from Van Halen. So that for me is the first 4 records, and that's when he was Edward,
right?
The guy that was trailblazing and did all these different things. After
then he
that,
became the guy next door that everybody loved.
Then he started doing all the tapping, the 2-handed tapping stuff, took over of everything he did, and that was Eddie.
That was Eddie.
So to me, there's Edward, which was King Edward, where she could do no wrong. And then when he started to do a little wrong is where Eddie came in.
So Beat It was Eddie.
Beat It is Eddie.
Okay, gotcha.
Absolutely. Right. So that's the difference.
Understand.
Yes. Okay. So Fools, he was Edward.
All right, gotcha. All right. I wanted to get that clear because I've been hearing him say this for years, and I always wonder what the backstory was.
That's the backstory.
I get it. Okay, all right. So my number 8 is actually a surprise, and it kind of goes against everything else that's on this list. It's from an album that I'm not crazy about, but I really always dug this tune. I think it has some of his greatest guitar textures ever. Mm-hmm. Girl Gone Bad from NumberFour, right? You always forget how great that song is because it's like buried on an album where, a couple really big hits that everybody kind of harkens on and everything like that. But I think that tune is better than anything else on that album.
The intro again, where he's just blazing.
The solo is great. The whole tune just really paces really well, and just all these great chords. And
absolutely,
it's just a really, really great tune.
Killer tune.
I almost picked another song off that album, but then I was like, really, I'm like, no.
And I know, but even looking at your list, I have a feeling I know what song you were going to pick because I think it's the same song I had on my list, and I took off yesterday.
And I'll get to it in my mention, but the other song was played, you'll know what I'm talking about. The other song was not a huge hit, but it was played on a local rock station here in the Hudson Valley all the time. Mm-hmm. And it's just a really good kind of like moody, catchy rocker, right? It's not flamboyant or anything like that, but I always totally dug it. So when we get back to the honorable mentions, we'll see if you know which one I'm talking about. All right, so what do you got for number 7?
Oh, boy. On Fire.
Yeah. Great one.
Do I need to say anything else? First record, heavy as it gets. On fire.
Yeah, it's a good one. I mean, you could literally list any tune from that first album, as far as I'm concerned.
Absolutely.
I'm going to go back to the second album again. No surprise there. Light Up the Sky. Right. I have a feeling that's going to show up on Butch's list somewhere.
Oh,
right?
boy. Yeah.
So, yeah, and I mean, that's just great. I mean, that's like a cavalcade of riff-o-rama and just fiery and...
Cavalcade of riff-o-rama. I like that.
You like that? There
yes.
You go.
That says it.
And Roth is really good on that too.
Oh.
I mean, it's, I think... Unfortunately, he's become somewhat of a parody of God knows what, but I think we forget how really effective he was on those first, few Van Halen albums as a, a shrieker. A good hard rock metal singer. I mean,
absolutely. We all tease him for live stuff.
Yeah.
But on the studio stuff, he was godlike. Mm-hmm. Those howls. Oh yeah. God.
Yep. He was like doing that Gillan thing that really nobody else even wanted to go there, and he was doing it.
Absolutely.
So, all right, number 6.
Here we go in the home stretch now, people. So my first song from my favorite album of all time, honestly, "Out of Love Again" from Van Halen 2.
Yep. I dig it.
Again, the intro, that the noises that Eddie's making in the beginning. And then the riff, just the tone, it's Van Halen 2. Yeah. You can't do anything wrong with Van Halen 2. Stop it. Out of Love Again.
Yeah, I hear you. It's on my top 10 too, I think. All right, where are we? Number 7? Number 6. All right. I had to go with this just because it's just awesome. I've always loved it. Back to Fair Warning Unchained. I mean, come on, that opening riff is just, Jesus, that's like textbook EVH right there. It's like you hear that, and I don't know.
Drop D.
And it just, that's like, and another reason why I really like that tune a lot, well, for obvious reasons, that's like a song that you could get away with playing at a wedding. And, and for half the people in attendance are going to be like, oh my God, what is this that they're playing? And the other half is like, yes.
Exactly.
You know, it's like, forget Shook Me All Night Long and all that nonsense. That's the cool tune you play. Cool tune. If you are a fan of hard rock and metal and it's your wedding or a friend's wedding or whatever, and you want to get away with you and your buddies hearing one tune that's going to really like kind of kick things into high gear, Unchained is the song to play.
Yep.
So my buddy Steve Fleck is watching that. We did that at his wedding.
Oh, did you really?
Oh yeah, it went over great.
Oh, that's awesome.
All us guys ran up and we all started playing air guitar on the dance floor. It was awesome. It was awesome. So anyway, all right, the top 5.
There we go.
What do you got?
Atomic Punk.
Ooh, yeah. That was in my original top 10 and it got booted out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I dig it though.
Man, just again, Eddie intro. And I just called him Eddie. So Edward, sorry. Edward intro.
Get the periods correct here, Butch.
That's King Edward there, man. That MXR Phase 90, scratching his hand on. Yep, right down there. Yep, the scratching the hand on the string, the palm of the hand. Oh my God, it's just. It
was pretty ferocious for the time.
I mean, how many songs has the guy made intros with these different sounds that no one had ever done before, and everyone just like scratching your heads, like, how's he make that noise?
Yeah. And taking forever to figure it out.
Right.
You know, eventually we had guys replicating it, but for
a while.
First few years, man, people were like, how the hell do you do that?
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, so my number 5, I'm going to go to the Women and Children First album. I really dig In the Cradle Will Rock. Another kind of really cool tune with a lot of weird noises and all sorts of stuff going on. And I remember when that album first came out, they played that on our local radio station every now and then. That was like one of the heaviest things you would hear on WPDH at the time.
Oh,
and it's still really heavy. But it's moody because some of this stuff is really fast and energetic, and that is like plodding and like just kind of dirgy. And I dig it because I like plodding and dirgy.
Absolutely.
So I was like, you know what? When Van Halen does it.
Exactly. When Van Halen does it, it's even better.
Yep. So that's my number 5. All right. That's final 4.
Here we go. Bottoms Up, number 4.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and I love that song. I got that album in '79 for my birthday. I was turning 12. My mom bought it for me at Corvette's department store in New York City.
Wow.
And I had no idea what was on it, never heard anything. And that was one of the highlights, that first initial listening of that record. And ironically, I don't know what took me so long to get it, but until like in the last few years, I never connected how that song is a complete ripoff of ZZ Top. If you actually listen to it, that shuffle, that riff, it's complete ZZ Top.
Wow.
It's just sped up. It's like if you actually listened, like, oh yeah.
Well, they were fans.
Absolutely. And I got some great bootlegs of Van Halen doing old ZZ Top, so it makes a lot of sense. But man, Bottoms Up, kick-ass song.
Yeah, that's a good tune. I dig it a lot. Number 4 for me, you've already mentioned, Mean Street.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
It's a great tune.
It's a great tune.
It's been one of my favorite Van Halen songs for a long time. So, all right, the final 3. Here's where it gets interesting.
I think if you had to pick one guitar song for Edward, it's I'm the One. I'm the One is my number 3. Man, that is just a complete, from the intro all the way through, that is a guitar player tour de force. You talk about a guy staking his claim in 1978. There it is. That one song, the opening riff.
It's an onslaught, right?
And the guitar player, and to play that right, that shuffle is hard. It's man, his right hand. We were talking before we started how Edward doesn't get a lot of credit for his rhythm playing. Yeah. Listen to that.
Yeah, that's my number 3.
Is it really?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's I'm a big fan of that too.
Oh,
big fan of that too.
Gorgeous.
I knew it was going to rank pretty, because Butch and I have known each other for a long time, and we've often talked Van Halen, and he often lists some of his favorite tunes, and he always talks about that one. So when I was doing my list, I'm like, I have a feeling that's going to be in Butch's top 3 also.
Yeah.
Didn't know it was going to be your 3 as well, but yes, that's my number 3. So you might as well go to number 2.
back to 1979, getting that album, Van Halen 2, for my birthday, and having no idea what I was going to listen to when I got home to play the vinyl. Somebody Get Me a Doctor is number 2. I remember clearly listening to You're No Good and then Dance the Night Away.
And you're like,
and then to me, and I like those 2 songs.
Right.
But to me, the first 3 chords of Somebody Get Me a Doctor, my life changed when I was 12 years old, hearing those 3 chords. It's like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Attitude. Oh my God. To this day, if I get a new car or new stereo stuff at home,
that's what you got to put in.
That's my christening song, is Somebody Get Me a Doctor. To this day. Unbelievable.
Do you want to guess what my number 2 is?
Somebody Get Me a Doctor.
Yep. We did not compare notes.
Well, I know our number 1s aren't the same. That's for sure.
Probably. Yeah, probably.
But that's, wow.
Yeah.
2 and 3. Wow.
Yeah, and in fact, I had a real tough time deciding between my number 1 and 2. It could flip-flop at any given time, because both of these tunes, for me, is like signature Van Halen.
Mm-hmm.
I think if anybody asks me, who's not a Van Halen fan, doesn't know much of their music, asks me, well, name a song or 2 that I should listen to get christened, I'm going to name my 1 and 2.
There you go.
And probably my top 4 is well, I mean, I can name anything on this list.
Anything on the list,
But I think
sure.
my top 4, for me, it's like, that's signature Van Halen for the uninitiated.
Okay.
All right. So you're number 1.
Well, anybody that knows me at all should know my number 1 song of all time. Even though, as we all know, I'm a Thin Lizzy guy. Lizzy's my favorite band of all time. And even though they're my favorite band of all time, my favorite album of all time is not Lizzy. And my favorite song of all time is not Lizzy, which is crazy. But Light Up the Sky is my number 1. Again, back to that initial time listening to that record, walking across the room, taking the album, flipping it over, and putting on that for the first time. Again, talk about being floored. Just like, what else can this guy do?
Yeah.
Light Up the Sky is easily my number 1 song of all time, and was no question for Van Halen is going to be my number 1.
That's the first thing you put on this
list. It was the first one, like, I'm filling after that. Yep.
My number 1, going back to the first album. Think you can guess what it is?
Really?
Yep, ain't talking about love.
Wow. Not that it's not a great song. I'm surprised. Well, but it's quintessential.
That's what I'm saying. So for me, those top 2 are just like, when I think Van Halen, I think those two songs. And I think that opening little freaking thing he does is just vintage Eddie. Or vintage EVH. Sorry, Edward.
You call it whatever. I just have my thing.
Yeah. So that's for me. And like I said, Somebody Get Me a Doctor or Ain't Talking About Love could flip-flop at any given time. I love them both. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
It's great stuff, right? But,
great
again,
stuff.
there's no right or wrong answers here. This is just kind of... And this was a tough one for me to put together.
Yeah.
Because they have so many great songs. But, your favorites may differ, and that's quite all right, because we all hear things differently. We all prefer different stuff.
Praise McJesus as I wear my Oilers stuff. Any Oilers fans out there...
I knew you were going to throw some hockey references.
I have to say something about McJesus, so...
All right. How about some honorable mentions? I got a ton, but I'll let Butch go first.
Well, one of the songs that was I had on my top 10 until this morning, honestly, was Top Jimmy.
Yeah, Top Jimmy's fun.
I love that. I had Top Jimmy. I had Hang 'Em High as my number 10, and I took that out. And Romeo Delight.
Romeo Delight is great. That's in mine, yeah. So, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be like, I can't believe neither one of those guys mentioned Running with the Devil and Eruption and, Panama and Hot for Teacher.
Yeah.
I mean, all great tunes, right?
Absolutely.
But
it's our top 10.
It's our top 10. Just because it was a MTV video or a, radio hit doesn't mean that it has to be in someone's favorites, right? Because I know Butch is the same as me. I'm a deep cut guy.
Yep.
It's like I tend to gravitate towards the stuff that I don't hear.
Yep.
Ad nauseum on the radio. and TV.
Absolutely.
So On Fire, Little Dreamer, DOA almost made my top 10. DOA is great. Everybody Wants Some. I think you mentioned Romeo Delight. Lost Control.
Lost Control.
Right? How weird but cool.
Take Your Whiskey Home.
I love Take Your Whiskey Home. That's a great tune. That's a great happy hour drinking song as far as I'm concerned. Dirty Movies.
Yeah, that's
Sinner's
badass.
Swing.
Man, I remember, you know what, Sinner's Swing? I remember getting Fair Warning and playing it at home with my mom. And the first time hearing him swear, and like running across the room to try to turn down the volume so my mom didn't hear him swear. And like every time I would play that after that, if I had that on, I'd have to be near it so I could turn it down real quick so she didn't hear it and then turn it back
Otherwise,
up.
that album was not getting played ever again, right? I totally forgot that he threw an F-bomb in that song until I was listening to it this morning. I'm like, oh, yeah.
Right.
What else? Hang 'Em High, I dig a lot.
Yeah.
You know which is a really good tune, and I almost do it in my top 10. Secrets is a very cool
That is
tune.
a cool song.
It is, right?
Well, here's a song neither one of us has mentioned yet. Little Guitars.
I got it in my honorable mentions. I think the Little Guitars is great. And for me, again, it's kind of played out, and I tend to downplay their covers, but I think Pretty Woman and with that Intruder intro is
that's badass.
Genius. One of the best covers they ever did. The Full Bug is fun.
Yep.
So the tune from 1984 that I almost do in my top 10 is I'll Wait. I love I'll Wait. Great tune. But also Drop Dead Legs is awesome. And House of Pain.
House of Pain.
Right? And I'm going to give some Sammy love here because I actually do like a lot of the Sammy material, just not as much. In fact, this may come as a shock to you. When I was the age we were talking about when Van Halen first burst on the scene, I was not a fan.
Really?
No, because I was like, I was a... Sabbath and Deep Purple and Scorpions and Rainbow and Judas Priest and Maiden guys. Who were these new kids? And then I was big into Yngwie, and there was this huge kind of like thing going on between Yngwie and Van Halen, and I always took Yngwie's side of things. So I actually didn't really start getting into Van Halen heavy till the 5150 album. And then from there, I went back and then rediscovered the early stuff. So
I did not know that.
Yeah, so that's how I got into Van Halen.
Okay.
So for me, like Good Enough and Get Up. Get Up is a great
Get Up
tune.
is a cool song.
I always like Dreams, Summer Nights, Best of Both Worlds, from OU812, Mine Oh Mine is a cool tune. AFU is good, Black and Blue is good. A lot of hits on that album. I mean,
there's a ton of hits, yeah.
Ton of hits. Yeah. Amazing. For the Unlawful Collar Knowledge album, Pound Cake is a great tune. Judgment Day.
Judgment Day is a cool song.
Run Around, Pleasure Dome, Man on a Mission.
Man on a Mission, we talked about before, yeah.
Top of the World is fun. The Seventh Seal from Balance is a great song.
That is a
really
cool
great song. I'm not a huge fan of that album in general. Amsterdam is pretty cool. I find the lyrical content and some of the choruses like really lacking on that album, kind of silly. Like Big Fat Money is pretty cool. Aftershock.
And people pick on Roth for his lyrics.
Yeah. But,
different.
To his credit, Sammy sounds great on all those albums.
He does.
He
really
really
got a
does.
great voice.
Yeah, he really
always
does.
has. He just kind of got pussified when he got in the band.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
this is what it is.
It was the 80s. They went down that road like every other band did.
Absolutely. Capitalize on being able to have a guy that could be more versatile. I know. I understand.
And they made a lot of money. Sold a lot of records.
So left those big pants at home, though.
Yeah, well, that look didn't work at all. They were all wearing them. It's like, yeah, when I was getting ready to do this, I go on YouTube, I started listening to a lot of stuff, and I'm watching some of the videos, and I'm like, oh, guys, what were you thinking? Van Halen 3, awful album. I think Fire in the Hole is
a great tune.
And I actually like Ballad of the Bullet, too.
That's a great song, too.
But I will say there's nothing else on there that interests me. And let's not forget about A Different Kind of Truth, because there's some killer stuff on there. And let's forget that damn Tattoo song.
Yeah, Tattoo's awful.
Do you remember when that album came out and they released that as a single? I was like, this is awful. This album is going to suck. Yeah. And then everything else on the album is great, right?
I wanted to get Chinatown or As Is in there.
You see with the little asterisks, those are the ones that I wanted. So Chinatown I wanted to get on, As Is, The Trouble with Never, and Big River. I was like, how do I squeeze these on?
Exactly.
Because they're all great. Blood and Fire, Bullethead is great. I mean, there's a lot of really good stuff.
There's a lot of really good. Yeah, I absolutely agree. But everything you just said, take Tattoo off, that's a great record.
And it's amazing how bad it is. I mean, that song is horrible.
Yeah, there's nothing good about it.
And it's just like, just leave it off. I don't understand why some bands do that. They go to release a new album, especially like legacy bands, and they release these early singles or videos, and 9 times out of 10, that early song that they release is the worst one on the album.
Yeah.
It's like, what, they don't want to give too much away, so they're like, I mean, you want to draw people in to buy the fucking album, right?
And why do they always lead that as the lead single?
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's like, okay, if this song sucks, then the rest of it's got to be better than this.
Right.
But they don't, of course, that's how we think. At least that's how I think. But obviously they're not thinking it in a marketing way, but that's how it usually ends up being. But yeah, just stop.
It's like, put one of your best songs out so people are like, wow, this is great. I got to buy this.
Exactly.
Not, this is terrible. I'm not even going to bother with it. I mean, I just don't get it. Anyway, so that's our Van Halen top 10 songs.
Van Halen 2, people.
Van Halen 2, Van Halen 1, Women and Children First, Fair Warning. I mean, you can't go wrong with any of those albums.
Can't go wrong.
So,
Essential VH.
Yeah, so thanks to Butch for joining us here.
Thanks for asking for me, guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we're going to try and get him on more often. He only lives like 20 minutes away.
Yeah, I'm not far.
So we'll try and we got to get Butch's Corner on here a little bit.
Oh, my goodness.
Actually, so I haven't told you this. So this is what I'm plotting. I actually wanted to do it for our 5-year anniversary here on YouTube, but obviously that was a couple months ago and we just haven't had time. But I am plotting to do a special anniversary episode, almost like a panel type thing where I bring in all of my great guest hosts like yourself, Chris Allo, Steve Keeler, Jeff Young, Chris Caffrey, Nick Franco, and whoever else.
I want to battle Franco. Franco, me and you, Franco.
I think that'll be a lot of fun. So,
it would be a lot of fun.
So we actually, Chris Allo has a buddy who's got professional camera equipment.
Ooh.
And he's got a brand new room or something in new man cave or whatever it is in his garage at his house where we can set up a multi-camera shoot and have plenty of room and do something really fun. So
fancy.
I figure I throw that out there because I'm sure everybody will be totally into that.
That'll
I think
be fun.
we would have a lot of fun with it. So that's in the planning stages. Don't expect it real soon, but that's probably something for early 2020 once we get the holidays out of the way and all that nonsense. So, but yeah, I figured you'd be into that.
Yeah, I would. Absolutely.
We'll have to figure out what the topic would be and all that kind of stuff, but I think it'd be kind of fun. So anyway, guys, this is on the web at www.ctranquility.org. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, of course, we're on YouTube all the damn time. Don't touch that dial because he's coming right back. We got top 10 songs for Michael Schenker Group and also top 10 songs for ZZ Top, and you don't want to miss either one of them, right? Ooh. So for Butch, I am Pete Pardo. We'll see you guys real soon.
Take it easy.
Bye-bye.